All right, how's it going, guys? So this is another project. This isn't ceramics, guys. So in my description of my channel, I say that I'm going to be doing all kinds of things from ceramics, which is really where the history, my faux pas is, whatever you want to call it. It's what I've been doing most of my life. But I have dabbled in sculpture and woodworking and all those different fun things. Like I said, guys. And I need to do a video on this, on my definition of an artist, especially like my definition of an artist versus my definition of a craftsman. That's going to take a whole video. So, maybe one day I'll do one of those videos or something like that. But the one thing I will tell you is that I think an artist is somebody who is continually learning, continually experimenting. You may have your own genre or your own medium that you're working in. But that's completely fine. Like me, my medium is clay. And I mean, I can even narrow it down to where I can say I'm a potter. I throw on the wheel. But I do all kinds of things. And, there's some things that I do better than others. Like, I would say that my wheel throwing is probably one of my more successful areas. And then my hand building is getting a lot better. I've noticed that since I'm getting a lot older and things like that. I used to I hated hand building. And I hated carving and things like that. But, lately, it seems that the older I'm getting, the more I'm really starting to really get into the carving and especially the relief carving. I'm really loving that. I mean, it's so much fun. And murals and things like that. But I do dabble in other things. And I do it mostly to educate myself, to constantly be learning something, constantly be challenging myself, constantly, just moving forward, learning new things. I think that as soon as you get stuck in one area, I don't care how good you are. If you stop and you stay in one area and you don't really seek for approval, improve yourself, I no longer consider you an artist, really. I think you're more of a craftsman. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not putting down on a craftsman. I know quite a few craftsmen. And, they do it for a living, and that's what they do. They go out, they punch a time clock, they make their stuff. It might be beautiful and gorgeous and all that other stuff. But, they're kind of content with that. Not me. I'm constantly trying to learn something. I'm looking forward to going back to school. I'm currently a teacher. I love teaching, that kind of stuff. So now, that being said, let's get into the assignment. I'm dragging on here, and I don't want this to be a 30-minute video. Okay, guys, so this is going to be the wire sculpture. This is for, once again, if you want to do a wire sculpture, if you're one of my subscribers, awesome. If you are one of my students, this is definitely in my 3D class, this is one of my assignments in here. So the first thing is your sketches. So I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna grab this. So the sketches that you should have done for this is what's called the continuous contour line drawing. And we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put it down here. I don't know, let me see if I can zoom in here. Nope. Okay, so on my other video, I have a contour line drawing video from a previous class. So I'm just going to kind of look at this. That's the video that I had them watch, and this is the one that I did on the video. So I would go back and watch that and I'll tell you how to do it. It's when a continuous line contour drawing is when you take and let's say this is my pencil because I'm not going to do one. As soon as pencil touches paper, you don't stop. You can, like I like to do the circle one, or you can, if you want to come back on itself, but you draw your thing without picking your pencil back up at all until you're done from point A to point B. So the whole thing. Now, really, the reason why I have you guys do this is it's a drawing skill. This is one of those warm-up drawing lessons that's, good to know and stuff like that. And it strengthens your drawing skills. I believe that learning how to draw is a good thing. So I said that I was going to do a horse, and I'm still going to do a horse in that previous video. But I had a student when I was getting ready and getting started on my horse. She showed me this picture, and she said, why don't I do this? And so she wanted me to do this really cool squirrel. I just thought that that was super neat looking. So I was like, sure, let's do the squirrel. So now, after you've done this, now if you're one of my students, after you've done your drawing, if you come to class and I sign it, well, then you upload it and good on you, as long as I can see my signature. Now, if you're one of those homebound students, you're going to take a photo of it, you're going to upload it, and then you're going to look for a comment from me, because I'm going to go through your 4 sketches, and I will help you decide which one you're going to do. So, you label it. Once again, you'll read all that you'll listen to that in the thing, but label each one, and then that way in my comment I will say, okay, you're going to do, do 1 or do 3 or whatever, So now, since it's the squirrel and that's not on my thing, this is what I did. I did my continuous line right here, okay? Now, for doing a wire sculpture, and this is sculpture in general, let me back this up and we'll talk about this. Let me I want you guys to see me while I'm talking about this here, okay? So, the one thing I do is I will take the contour line, okay? And then I'm gonna draw it again, but I'm gonna redraw it this time with thinking about how I want my wire, how I want my sculpture done. So in this case, we're doing wire. So with sculpture, you really want to break it down, okay? And what I mean by that is you want to think of the skeleton, and I'm not saying that, like, so for instance, if you're doing a car or anything like that, that's kind of what I want you to think about. So you don't necessarily have to, we're not going to actually, especially with a wire sculpture, you're not going to actually do a skeleton. Now with clay, you would do more of a skeleton kind of an idea. And if I do a bust video, we'll go into that a little bit more. So with the clay, you would do more of the idea, like you kind of want to like think of this as like not the shell, but the inner structure. So it is almost, it is, I would say, like the skeleton. And especially if you're doing a person or something like that, knowing the anatomy, knowing the bones and where the bones are and where they connect and how they connect and how the muscles connect, and then your skin and all that kind of stuff, that really does help, okay? So, as I'm making this, and I started, and I'll show you my progress. I only just started about, maybe 20, 30 minutes ago. What I did first, though, is, let's go ahead and look at this. So I went through and I drew it as if these were the wires and stuff, okay? So, and then I broke it up, so I'm gonna do this first. I'm gonna do my head first, and then I'm gonna do my body next, okay? And then, let's see here. 1, 2, oh, it looks like I skipped 3, so I went straight to 4. Okay, so 3 and 4 are my legs. So my two legs, okay? And so then I'll do that. Then 5 is gonna be my 2 arms, 6 is gonna be my ears, and 7 is gonna be my tail, okay? So I break it up into parts like that. So as I'm making it, I'm making the head right now, and I'm only gonna make the main part of the head. I'm not gonna do the eyes and that kind of stuff. That'll come in later. That's actually 6. So after I'm done with the head, then I will go ahead and start with the body. And then when I've got the body mostly made, I'll be making the body alongside the head. And then after I've got the body pretty much made, and that's what I did in this other video, this other sketch here, this is how I'm going to approach making the body is here, okay? So do a sketch that you can understand, that you can read, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do here in this video is I'm gonna show you guys, since we're doing wire, I'm gonna show you some of the different techniques of how to, what's the best way to do your bone structure, or your skeleton, your shell, your inner layer and stuff like that, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at what I've gotten done so far, okay? So now, just so you guys know, especially my students, I made this box right here. Now this box is 9 by 12, okay? So your wire sculpture needs to fit, it needs to be pretty much this size, and it's gonna be 3-dimensional. I've had some students that have started, like they were trying to do two-dimensional things. No, it's a two-dimensional drawing that we are going to turn into a three-dimensional object, okay? But now I want it to fill this box. I don't want it to be smaller than the box. I don't want it to fit in the box. I mean, I'd like it to fit in the box. But once again, if it's larger than the box, that's awesome. Now, I didn't have this last semester, but I want to show you, I really like this sculpture, but I wish you would have done it bigger. So, like for instance, this bee right here. You know, this bee is not big enough. Like, so it fits in this box with too much extra space. I mean, I don't know if you can see that, but it fits all the way down in there. So I want larger, okay? So think of, you know, 9 by 12, and then do that in a box form, and that's the size I want your sculptures, okay? So, now that we've seen that, I'm gonna kind of show you the top of my skull that I'm working on right now. And I actually even have cheated, and I've started adding some skin so you guys can see a way to connect your skin. So I've gone through, I made this bottom part first, and there's gonna be some bending with the tools and things like that, and we'll go over what tools. But so I do the bottom, and then I do these bent ones here, and I do them in a couple of places. And then I run wire this way. And that's what I'm trying to show you here is I'm going to show you how to connect these wires here, the ones that are long, your longer ones that are connecting to several other pieces. So for instance, I'll bend the end, and then I'm going to run it to that one piece here, and then I'm going to loop it around, which is what I've got going on here. So I loop it through, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it and start getting the shape that I want on here. And now, just so you know, guys, the number one tool, the tool that is going to be your best friend, guys, right now, is going to be your needle nose pliers. These are just like a couple of bucks at Harbor Freight, okay? And these are going to be what you bend and what you cut with. There should be some, if you get the normal ones, there should be some wire clippers in there. The wire that I'm using is 17 gauge, and it's actually like electrical fence wiring. Okay, let me back up here so you're not just looking at my mouth. I ran a little bit of electrical fence wiring out on my property. I've got a cow. So, and it just kept going through my fence. So we had to put some up, and I looked at this and I thought, wow, this would make for some really cool wire sculpture. So I've got plenty of it. So if you're one of my students and you need the wire, you can either go buy some. You don't have to stick to the 17 gauge. You can get some smaller stuff, but don't get like string thin wire. Let's do something a little bit thicker, but, that's where I got it. Or, you can go to like Home Depot or Harbor Freight, not Harbor Freight. I don't know if Harbor Freight might have wire, but, Lowe's or, like Hobby Lobby, some of those other places that might have wire and stuff like that. So now I've bent this, I looped it around, okay? Now, and I bent it into the shape that I want. And then now what I'm doing is I'm just gonna pull this loop tight. And I'm not going to worry too much about this shape here, because after I'm done pulling it tight and it's where it needs to be, and I pull it tight enough, then it should stay pretty close staying there if you pull it tight enough. And then what you can do is you can come up here like this with your needle nose pliers, and you can go around to that loop, and you can pinch it tight. And then that's really going to grab a hold of that area that you're working on, okay? And that wire won't move. Now, if it's kind of deformed your bent wire, then you can come back in here and just start bending it into the shape that you want. So right here is where my nose is going to start coming down and into the shape. And I'm just going to lightly start adding that shape here. And yeah, it's going to change up a bit the more I go. And when I start doing, more detail and stuff like that. And then I'll loop it around here. And then I'm going to loop it down here on the end of the nose one more time. And then that's where I'll cut it a little long. And then I'll bend it around. And then I'll put it up on there, and I'll cinch it tight with my needle nose pliers. Now give me a minute, and I'm going to show you some of those tricks. I'm going to show you guys how to twist up the wire, and then I'm going to show you two different methods. The one that we use in class, and then I'll show you one that if you don't have a drill and a clamp at home, or even just a drill. If you have a drill and a chair, just something that you can attach the wire to, a drill really is going to speed this process up. But if not, you can use this other method that I know of, and I will show you that here in just a second. But the next thing I want to show you guys is, because I'm not done with this, but I still wanted to show you what you do after you've done your skeleton, which is the shell or the skin. So I want you guys to take a look here. So I've just taken some of the single wire here, and then I just bent it around down here, and then I've just been looping it around my outer wire here, okay? So, or my inner wire. And so that's gonna act as our skin. So you wanna make sure that, you bend it and you follow your shape, and that's how you're gonna do your skin. And once again, that's how I'm doing it here, is I'm looping it, and then I just pull it tight through, and then I just come back through. And now this one here, I'm actually not gonna go through that hole. So I'm gonna back it up. It takes some longer pieces to do this so you can do, a whole bunch of it at one time. Try not to poke your eye out though. It's pretty important. So here we go. We're gonna bend that down, and then I'll pull this up through this top piece here, and then make sure that you wrap it. Don't go loose. You don't have to go super tight though. You can have a bit of a gap in there, that's fine. But I want you to, to give it that outer shell. And that's really important. That's what's gonna fill in your skeleton, okay? So, I got it to where I want it now, and then I'll take it, and then you wanna take, and you bend it around, like right here. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I bent it around there, like that. And then once again, I'm gonna take my pliers, my needle nose pliers, and then I'm just gonna cinch it down. Wow, that was a mouthful. All right. Okay, so I just did that. And then now I'm just gonna, once again, now I'm gonna just bend it around, and I'm gonna go in kind of a zigzag pattern, and then I'm gonna go ahead and tuck this in on this side here just to get it ready going, okay, and then I'll pull it down. And then once again, I'll just go over just a little bit. I'm gonna bend this one over a little bit more. I don't want that big of a gap. And then I'll bend it down. And then once again, I'm here now, and then I'll cinch that down with my needle nose pliers, and that's what you'll do all over the place. And that's how you fill it in. That's how you give it its skin, okay? So when I'm done with this, I probably will make this the, whatever that thing's called, like the thumbnail or the beginning photo of when you see it on YouTube and stuff like that, so you can see the finished product. I'm planning on finishing it tomorrow. Once again, guys, this video is going on longer than I thought it was. We're going on the 17-minute mark. So, break it up, watch it as much as you can, do what you want, do what you can. For instance, do the sketching first and then do the other sketching first, break it up. You don't have to sit here and watch the whole video and try to remember everything. Break it up, take it in pieces, Now, let's talk about the wire. So, once again, I told you I was using 17 gauge wire, so that's what this is right here, okay? So, it's about that thick, so see it in my hands here, okay? Now, you got to think about where you want to use just the single wire. Once again, I use the single wire as my skin. Now we're going to double it up, and we're going to do that for the skeleton portion of it. Now let's figure out how, let's go over how we do that, okay? I'm gonna bring you in a little bit closer to this. I'm gonna drop it down so you can see. So I've got the two open ends here in my vise. And I'll show you that. So this is the part, so I pulled out a decent piece of wire, and then I take this and I put the two open ends into the vise. And I pull it tight. So if you have a vise, that's really going to save you some time. If not, you can come in and use one here at school. And if you're one of those ones that don't want to come into school, or if you just feel uncomfortable or something like that, well, I'll show you another method on how to do it. If you have a drill, the one at home, the home ones, I'll show you how. But so you want to bend it down here in the middle, or as close to the middle as you can. And then you're going to pull tight, and then you just start spinning this up. Now you're going to see it getting like tighter and tighter. This is probably, I don't know if you can see that very well, but I'll show you one that's loose, and I wouldn't go any looser than that, because if you go too loose, as soon as you let it out of the drill, it's just going to unspin on itself. But you can go, just keep an eye on it, and then get it as tight as you want your skeleton to be, or however you want it to look. I find that a tighter weave, yeah, you spin your wire in and you lose some of the length of it, but it looks a lot better and it's a lot easier. I wouldn't say easier, it might actually be a little bit harder to bend, but you get a much better, it holds its form better and all that kind of stuff. And so this is about what I use. So this is it like doubled up, okay? So we took it, we doubled it up, and then I just clip off these ends here. The little parts, I'd probably keep that for when you're tying parts together. And I'll go over that here in just a second. And then I just get rid of this end here. I leave it there and I use that in my bend. Okay, so that's a single. Now, if you take the single, you guys, you can actually, depending on what you want to do with it, you can actually fold this up again and then put that back in your vise or on your chair, and I'll show you that technique here in just a second, and spin that up, and then you get this. So you get a much stronger one. So if you're doing a spine or something like that, or you just need something with more strength, well, then you can get that, and it still looks pretty good. Then you can actually take this and you can bend it over, and I wouldn't do it any more than this because I'm going to show you mine. I did one because this is for my horse, and I was actually going to use this as you know, you have to have some stability somewhere, especially since it was only going to be standing on one foot. If you bend that other one over one more time, you get this right here, okay? So this is, you know, still looking, excuse me, you know, this is still looking pretty good. But once again, it's after this it starts getting bound up on itself, like right here. So you can see where it started getting bound up, but it still looks, you know, pretty good for the most part. So, you know, I wouldn't do this big unless you were going to do a big one. So my horse, I was going to do a pretty, you know, I mean, you can see this. This was going to run up, down, part like up its leg. So this was going to be part of the thigh, you know, and then this was going to be what I put into whatever I was going to mount it on, you know, and then that would be part of its leg and its thigh. So, you know, so that was going to be, you know, a couple of feet tall. So now I'm going to show you, this is probably as loose as I would go right here, just so you can see that. So, and then I'll show you the two compared, you know, to each other, sitting next to each other. So you can see one is tighter than the other. Okay, so now let me show you a trick if you're at home and you're doing it at home, how you can do it. Okay, I'm not going to do a whole bunch of it. You can just, you know, you want to find a chair that has a leg, then you put the loop end on the chair this time, and then you bend this end and you kink it, okay? And then you take something like a screwdriver, you know, something straight like this, and then you put that up in there, and then you just start twisting it, okay? And that's how you're going to twist your wire. Okay, this is it's going to actually take a lot longer, so, you know, don't expect it to be really quick, but, you know, if you want to make sure that you're pulling it tight while you're spinning it so you can get the whole thing done up. I'm not going to do the whole thing here, but I'll do a little bit, you know, and then once you've got that spun up to where, you know, you're happy with it, you know, and it's nice and tight, then you're going to clip this in here, and then you can just pull this out and then clip whatever you want there, okay? So that's how you do one if you don't have access to a drill, you know, and even if you don't have a screwdriver, which is hard to believe, most people do have a screwdriver. You can use anything, something that like a pen would even work. You know, I'd get a solid pen, a stick, go out and find a big stick or something, and that'll work too. Okay, now let me show you some of the tricks on how to get them to stick together. Okay, or not stick together, but connect. Okay, so I'm gonna take my needle nose pliers. Once again, I usually, you know, I clip this end off unless I'm gonna, you know, use it, like if I'm gonna make a circle or something like that, then I'll probably leave that on. So in this case, I'm gonna leave it on. And I'll show you the way to connect that real quick. So you come to the other end here, and then you hook it onto your needle nose pliers, and then you're gonna bend it over like this. Just wrap it around your needle nose pliers, okay? So it has a hook. So if you do leave that loop end on there, you can actually just hook them together like this. This one's giving me some problems. Okay, so you hook them together like this, okay? Push both of them in there. You know, and then you're going to come over here to this side here where you got the part that you bent, and then you just cinch it down. Okay, and then that's going to, you know, and then you just bend it out. And that's how you get a ring, or I mean, you can connect any two pieces like this, okay? And then the other way to connect two pieces, I'm gonna go ahead and just grab another piece here, is if you take your one straight end here like this, okay? Once again, you're gonna grab it with your needle nose pliers. You're gonna bend it around, get a decent sized hook out of it like that. Then you come to whatever end you're gonna hook it onto, and then you bend this one around too, okay? Now is what you're gonna do is you're gonna take these, the two ends, and then you put them together like this, and then you cinch both sides down, okay? Now, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do something else. So now, like for instance, on my squirrel head, you know, like these little half circles here, these right here, like from here all the way, see if you can see that. So these from here to here. So let's take my bottom half of my skull here, and I'm just gonna put this on. I'll probably just use this later. But is what you're gonna do is you take your whatever, and I know I want one right here, so I'll hook it on here, and then I'm gonna hold this like so, okay? And then I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna grab it, and then just pinch it tight, and then follow it around, okay? And then if you want, you can come around to the other side, grab the two parts, and then cinch it really tight. You know, if you can get that other part to lay flat, you know, come out on the other side here like this. So if you want, you can get it to come around, like, let's see if you can see that. Yeah, like that. Then you can take it and you can just keep bending that over and around, and that'll actually, if you get it tight enough, you can actually stop it from really moving a lot. Because if you don't do it real tight, then it'll slide around. Okay. So I've got that connected where I want it. It's on there pretty tight. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm either gonna use my pliers, and I'll start, let's see here, I want you guys to see this. So, and then I'll just start doing a little bit of a bend at a time. Now this isn't what I want to do so I'm just bending it just a little bit at a time, and then I'm gonna pull it around like that. And then let's say that's what I want, okay? Or pretty close, you know? Right there's pretty good, okay? So now what I would do is I'm gonna come down on this side, and I'm gonna cut it using the wire cutter. So if you get a good pair of needle nose pliers, they should have wire cutters at it on the end. I'm gonna cut it a little bit long, okay? So down here, take that piece off. Then I'll just pull this back, and then once again, I'm gonna bend it. I'll bend this into that U shape, and then I'm gonna connect that to this piece here, like that. And then once again, I will cinch it down tight. Okay. All right, guys, so students, email me if you got any questions, or come in after school, guys. Nobody's here. You know, you can be safe that way or whatever. Stay in contact with me if you need to. We can set up a Zoom or something like that, guys. But you know, if you could do me a favor, like this video, hit subscribe, turn on the notifications, guys. Help me grow my channel. Mostly so my students don't have to, because there's a lot of so this is the RBD Studio. I'm going to change the name eventually, probably RBD Ceramic Studio or something like that, or RBD Ceramics and Sculpture. I don't know. We'll figure something out just so it's not so difficult to find. And then, you know, it helps grow the channel, guys. So, you know, until next time, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Have fun. You know, guys, this is all about having fun. This is a way for you just to kind of forget about the world, forget about everything, and just get lost in your sculptures, okay, guys, or your ceramics, or whatever it is that you're watching on my videos and stuff. Just, you know, have fun, okay, guys? So peace out. See you guys in the next one.